Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
It's things like this that you have to be stronger for. You learn, and you just have to, or it'll eat you.
An emotional battle for Fargo family members as they hope for the best. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight.
A Fargo man remains at a Twin Cities hospital tonight as doctors work to save his leg. This after a crane collapsed on him while working on apartments in West Fargo Tuesday. Valley News Team's Krista Baim talked with his sister who just returned from watching over her brother.
Construction work continues at this apartment complex in West Fargo a few days after a crane crushed Melissa French's brother, an image she can't shake.
My face went white, and I remember handing the phone back to Kayla, pretty much in tears, and just took off running down the hallway.
She learned her 25-year-old brother, Chad Miller, was sent to trauma at Essentia. That's where she works, and was on duty at the time.
Open wounds, him in a neck brace. His knee was probably 5 times the size anybody's should have been. Meat, bone, sticking out.
A situation Melissa thought she could handle. A situation on the heels of their mom passing 4 weeks ago.
It's been a horrible couple of months. How do you explain to your kids that grandma's gone and a month later, you know, your uncle's in the hospital and hurt?
Focusing on her family and Chad's 2 kids, Melissa says this won't be easy.
When you even touch him, he's screaming, and that's awful to watch.
She says Chad may not be able to do the activities he loves so much again. He's already had 2 surgeries on his left leg, which has 8 fractures. His pelvic bone cracked.
Not just one break. It's when you look at the x-ray, it's like a bunch of pieces, like a puzzle.
A puzzle that doctors are trying to put back together so they do not have to amputate.
The team is meeting to try and map out how to best fix it so he can have, or try to have, as close to a normal leg as possible.
As close to a normal life as possible. Focusing not on what happened that day, but on helping her brother heal.
He's going to be okay. It's going to be a really long road.
Krista Baim, Valley News Live.
OSHA continues to investigate that accident. Meanwhile, a GoFundMe site has been set up. There's a link on valleynewslive.com. Go there and click on this story.
Too fat to fight, a warning message from a group of former military leaders in Minnesota. The group says this new research report showcases how Minnesota's youth are too obese, meaning they can't meet the physical fitness requirements for the military. They say that means, quote, national security is at stake.
It's basically ridiculous. He does have a point that people are out of shape. It's true, but I don't think it's a national security issue.
I think it's a little ridiculous based on the fact that I don't know. It's just not a threat to national security. That seems like a silly comment.
2 recommendations from the report. Healthier lunches need to be mandatory in schools, and more students need to walk or bike to school.
A hit-and-run crash gets even worse for the victim when the accused allegedly pulls out a chainsaw. A West Fargo man had his car totaled but considers himself lucky. Matt Kanya says he was at a stop sign in West Fargo when he got sideswiped. The driver of the car ran, so Kanya followed him, and when he came to a stop, that's when Kanya says the driver pulled out a chainsaw and came at him with it.
I just want people to know that this can happen to anybody, you know. This could have been way worse than it was. You know, he could have taken my life. I could have ran him over. Anything could have happened in the heat of the moment, you know. You never know what to do, so.
Police arrived and arrested a 34-year-old man from Illinois saying he was drinking and driving without a license at the time of the hit and run.
We now know the names of the 2 men who were killed after an ATV crash in Gardner, North Dakota yesterday. The owner and operator of the ATV was Corby Heller. The passenger was Robert Schmitz. Both were from rural Gardner. The 2 were found by their neighbor. An investigator says that the ATV hit trees in the yard. The case is still under investigation right now.
Authorities are out tonight in Baltimore in anticipation of possible trouble. This follows 6 police officers being charged in the death of Freddie Gray. The officers' identities have been released. They were being held on bail of between $250,000 and $350,000. All 6 officers have since posted bond. That is a live scene from Baltimore tonight, where some businesses have called for a nighttime curfew to be ended, a city that has calmed down in recent days. A surprising recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Schools should let kids in class when they have lice.
Well, their study points out that taking kids out of school can have academic and emotional consequences. As Valley News Team's Macy Anger found out, a majority of parents that we talked with disagree, and so do many local school districts.
Yep, I'm a Nana.
Sandy Rodland has her hands full. As a grandmother, she's dealt with everything, including lice.
I've never had it, and thank heavens, because I get just crawly with it, but my daughter and her and my grandkids have had it.
Sandy and many parents don't agree with the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation that kids should be allowed in school with lice.
I think they should stay home until it's gone.
Well, I'd probably pull her out and get her cleaned up, and then, when she was clean, send her back.
It's something that happens, but I would certainly want her to be at home.
The study says kids are less likely to pick up lice at school and more likely to pick it up somewhere else, like a park.
But Moorhead,
Fargo and West Fargo have a no nits policy in place. If a student is found to have lice at school, parents must pick them up and take them home. Kids cannot return until they're found to be lice-free. The Northern Cass School District crosses a slightly different path when it comes to their policy. Students found to have lice at school can stay the rest of the day, but the head nurse says she's never not had a parent come and pick up their student once they found out.
It is a nuisance, and I think that's kind of behind the theory behind any, ailment of sorts is to just bring your kids home.
Rodland agrees, even though she'd have a job to do.
Being the grandma, I get to babysit when they have to go home, so I'm right in the middle of it.
But it's one she'd do any day.
You want another one?
Macy Anger, Valley News Live.
The study also outlined the best way to treat lice, suggesting parents use over-the-counter medications, combing out nits and washing pillowcases and toothbrushes to prevent them from ever coming back.
Many of you may not know this, but today is Americanization Day, otherwise known as Loyalty Day. It was enacted into public law by Congress way back in 1958. Tonight, members of our community got out to celebrate. Loyalty Day was established to counteract the Communist Party's military display and celebration. Tonight at the VFW, there was a Loyalty Day ceremony. The state VFW commander was in attendance, as well as other state and auxiliary officers.
Well, and today we continue, even though that, the Russian forces aren't a major thing to us anymore. But today we just keep the patriotism still alive, so people know that, this is actually Loyalty Day.
At tonight's ceremony, a check was presented to the Fargo Parks Division for flagpoles in local parks.
You might want to think twice about throwing out that old car seat that your kids may have outgrown. The Fargo Police Department, along with many other organizations, are asking for you to donate the car seat that you no longer need anymore. You can bring your outdated or unsafe car seats to AAA off of 13th Avenue South in Fargo. Tomorrow, it's from 9 to noon. The hope is to keep any damaged or unsafe car seats out of vehicles and dispose of them properly.
Doing that to try to prevent people putting them out on the curbs next week for cleanup week, because we don't want random people picking up car seats and trying to use them if they're old or damaged.
Any family that donates will get a free $10 gift card to Kohl's.
A reminder, starting Monday, the intersection of 5th Avenue South and Fichtner Drive South, west of 27th Street in Fargo, is going to be closed for 35 days. It's part of a city project that will reconstruct 5th Avenue South from 25th Street West to Fichtner Drive South. And this reminder to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with no wait weather.
What a great day. I mean, I can count about, three that were just fantastic today. We had sunshine. We had no winds. Yep. It's just nice.
And I saw the temperature that he's forecasting for tomorrow. I think you're going to like that.
Yeah. I think we may need to break out that sunscreen right now, though. Let's take a look at our day. A beautiful sunset, high clouds streaming in. Hey, we have a very dry atmosphere. That makes that fire danger a little on the high side as Well, it's definitely a beautiful evening out there. As we head into the overnight, it's going to continue to be quiet. Right now, the current conditions at Hector International Airport, 67 degrees, and that wind is blowing at a whole 8 miles per hour. Relative humidities are very dry. And in Grand Forks, 59 degrees on the thermometer, 46% relative humidity with the south-southeast wind at only 9 miles per hour. 50s from Valley City and Jamestown north into Langdon. It's holding on to 64 degrees off the lake there on the Devil's Lake area. Mid 60s right now in Lakes Country, 61 degree reading in Wadena and 53 in Bemidji as you have cooled down substantially. Now look at the region. We do have a lot of cloud cover, some stormy weather rolling out of the high terrain of Colorado and into the high plains of Kansas tonight. For us, we have a little bit of high cloudiness, but that's all it is. Really, nothing is going to penetrate this very dry lower atmosphere with this activity this evening. And as we take a look at your hour-by-hour forecast, it confirms as we head to bed tonight, temperatures, when it's this dry, usually fall pretty quickly, and that's going to continue to be the case with some 40s out there as we start out our weekend on Saturday morning. But we'll have plentiful sunshine out there. And really, as we go through the day, we're going to notice a couple of big differences. Gusty wind will develop in our western counties by noon. And in Lakes Country, the afternoon looks to be quite gusty with winds over 30 miles per hour at times. And look at your midday temperatures soaring all the way into the upper 70s and mid and upper 80s possible. 1 or 2 upper 80s to near 90 degree readings are possible as we have a little bit of a weak front working its way through. As it makes its way in, it could initiate a few thunder showers, but I've mentioned it time and time again. We're extremely dry with the wind, the hot temperatures, and the low relative humidities. We're going to have a danger for fire again tomorrow. Now, we'll have a chance for a few of these thunder showers to develop in the afternoon. They're going to be hit and miss, really. Not everyone is going to see them. And we could even have some of these producing a little bit of hail and gusty wind. And that thunderstorms, they always create lightning. Lightning right now is a fire danger in itself. Hopefully, we can get some soaking showers in a few locations. It does look like the best chance of that will be from Fargo into northwest Minnesota as we go through the late evening hours. Isolated locations under the rainfall, including a chance of 1/3 of an inch in Fargo, although, again, it's hit and miss, where many of us will just get a few hundredths at best. There's your fire weather watch for all of our counties, and it does look like as we go through the day tomorrow and overnight tonight, temperatures dipping to near 50 degrees, rising into the mid-80s for the afternoon. I think briefly we could get up there into the upper 80s. So a hot day indeed. A lot of 70s in the afternoon at 3 o'clock in northeast North Dakota. That's where the cool air will get to first. The rest of us will have windy conditions with spotty thunder showers developing in the late afternoon. Sunday behind this system, it will be a little bit cooler. And as we look into our week next week, I'm anticipating temperatures to stay very mild as we go through Cinco de Mayo. And then into the middle of the week, it looks like temperatures will be back to near 80 on Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday look like a very good chance at some soaking showers, so that is good as we continue to try to green and try to catch up. We're at least an inch below average in many locations across the valley for moisture.
We need some more rain.
Yes, we do.
All right, thank you, Hutch. Still ahead for us on Valley News Live. Ford is extending its recall. Find out which vehicles are now affected.
But first, why you should be cutting out sugary drinks from your diet.
You're watching Valley News Live.